bub.
We go to Comikaze every year because of the Pipedreams philosophy. You've got to keep one foot firmly in each world, the world the way it is and the world the way you want it to be. Comikaze represents the world the way we want it to be, and that's what keeps us coming back. We soon realized that there are other elements of the Pipedreams philosophy that keep other people coming back too. Drop them excuses and pick up a purpose. Make your next move your best move. We are one tribe with one love. The joy you bring to the tribe is the joy you take from the tribe. These ideas are the foundation of the Pipedreams philosophy because they can be applied by anyone. Looking around at Comikaze, that's exactly what we saw. People putting these principles into play every day. Fanboys and girls, cosplayers, content creators, actors and artists of every stripe. All of them living their dreams. With so many people in the world with the desire to pursue their passions, follow their bliss, and live their dreams, but without the knowledge of how to do it full time, we felt this was an important question. What does it take to live the dream?
I've been doing conventions for about maybe since 07, 06.
I've been at it for years. Right. I've been painting since I was a kid. I've been at this series for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I can't remember a time where I wasn't drawing something.
Okay.
I drew a cover of The Death of Robin when I was about 8 years old.
There's never been a time where I come home and I don't want to draw. You know, much to my wife's dismay.
The painting and the opportunity that I had to move to LA to work on this particular style of work really was just a random opportunity. I ran into somebody who's in the business. They offered me somewhat of like an internship situation.
Okay.
And kind of challenged me to move to LA. LA just never really was the place I wanted to go.
Sure. It can be challenging.
Yeah, a little bit. But the other moves and the other places I lived prepared me for that. The challenge was the getting myself in a position where I can do what I love and what I feel that I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So sold everything I owned and drove across the country and didn't have anywhere to stay. Didn't really know what I was going to do and just kind of did it. And that was 2 years ago.
It's been about 10 or 12 years.
Okay.
I mean, I've been a painter since I was a teenager.
Right.
But I went to music school and then
Okay.
I played music for a while. I've done a little bit of everything. And came back to art after working for other people. And
Okay.
just said, I kind of had it. I got to do my own thing.
Bartending is how I paid the rent. When I first got out here, I figured it'd be easy to find that bartending job, but more people wanted me on the door than they wanted me behind the bar. So then I had to fight even harder to get behind the bar, to pay to live here, to paint, to chase the dream.
Right.
Then there comes a point where I finally got that job, and I fought so hard and so well for it when I had it. Now they want me to be a manager. Now we're talking about franchise opportunities.
Right.
Now I'm right back to where I was when I left home.
I was able to slowly make the transition over. It wasn't like suddenly,
Okay.
hey, I'm able to make paintings and sell them.
I've switched jobs so that it frees up more time to paint.
Right.
It's scary as hell. I just quit working, and now how am I going to pay the rent?
Right.
I need to create opportunities through this to pay the rent. So I'm slowly backing away from the 9 to 5 or the bartending, whatever it is to pay the rent.
As far as the return on it, like that took a while, like
Right.
the first show I did was like, I lost money. And then the second show, I made a little bit.
Right.
And so it's all about that time. As an artist, I had the flexibility to say like, hey, right now I have a print line, but I didn't have that to start with. That takes a lot of money.
Right.
So I said, well, I do have paint and I have my brushes. I've had those since I was a kid, but
Right.
I'll start there. A movie maker might say, well, I don't have a camera and I don't have, actors. I don't have makeup. I don't have gear. I got a pen and paper.
Right.
I can write a movie.
Right.
That's where I can start.
Rejection's a really hard word.
Right.
And you're rejected, especially when it comes to something that you create. You're very protective of that.
Right.
Putting stuff out there for thousands of people to see
Right.
is very scary in itself. That rejection, if you're truly meant to do it and you plan on doing it, shouldn't factor in. Discouragement
Exactly.
and rejection aren't words that you can have in your vocabulary.
These are very time intensive. Like you're talking about
more hands-on.
living the dream and doing your own thing.
Right.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. I'm
Okay.
self-employed,
Right.
but I'm spending 10, 12 hours a day.
Right.
Like, I don't go to work, do my job, and come home and chill out. It's like
Right,
the next
right.
like 3 or 4 hours after I'm done working is filled with, oh crap, I forgot to send this order. I forgot to email these people. So it just
Right.
it's 24/7 kind of. But it's pretty rewarding.
The lessons, swallow your pride.
Well
Swallow
said.
your pride.
Well said. Conquer your ego.
You have got to do these things. If you're starting out, you're probably not starting out with tens of thousands of dollars that you can just stop working a job that pays your rent and just do this.
I started out doing a local, market. And then I moved up to, festival here, there, whatever. And then you just learn, like, oh, I meet all these different people, and I found out you can do this show. You can, it just takes a lot of time. That's
Right.
the thing.
Right.
And if I'd have known that ahead of time, I probably could have saved myself from some frustration.
If you make the decision to do it and to go all in, there's never a point where you can say, I can fall back to doing this instead. Because you've made that decision in your mind. You're going to follow your heart. You're going to follow your talent. And you won't be able to limit yourself if you ever just go, well, I did as much as I could. I can always go back to bartending.
Right.
I can open my own bar. I can be successful in that.
Sometimes you got to take it in steps.
Right.
And I've learned that over and over. Like, it's coming. Just take it in steps.
I did one of my Instagrams this morning. I put a couple pictures up, and my hashtag was "A dream is real." This is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and it's all extremely positive stuff. These are just little hiccups and not issues at all. The dream is real. I'm doing it. The fortunate part is that my rent's due the first of the month. This isn't putting any money in my landlord's hands, so I got to go to work. I got to bartend to pay that. But every second I'm bartending, I'm like, all right, I got this painting I want to get done. I have to prep for this painting. I need these references. I need to do all these things, and I'm pouring drinks instead of doing these things. That just puts me further behind. Because these 6 hours were spent paying rent instead of living the dream.
I'm actually a toy designer, full time. It's toys, but what I work on in particular isn't exactly lined up with what I do here. So this is actually a nice break. This artwork stuff is this comic book stuff is a nice break from what I do for a 9-to-5 job. It's something that I feel that I can draw at work, and then I can come home and I can keep drawing and not feel any kind of fatigue.
How does one do it without financial backing per se?
Right.
And that was the hardest part.
Absolutely.
Is to just live and lean and just saying like, all right, put as much as I can into here. I've had many moments where it's just like, what am I doing? It'd be so much easier to work for someone else. But at the end of the day, it's there's a sense of ownership to it. You feel like you accomplished something and you're ready to go, get up the next day and do it. Even though that day might have been tough, you can get up the next day and go, all right.
I try to be as positive about it, and during the whole process, I'm thinking about the next 5 shows. How do I book them? How do I do shipping? How do I get my paintings there? What am I going to run into trouble-wise? How do I get through these hurdles?
The business side says, yeah, I have a plan, and the creative side says, huh?
Right.
Plan?
Right.
And I kind of go towards creative.
So you kind of have to pay attention to the god of business, but also defer to the muse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, good.
Thank you.
It's all balance. It's all balance until you put yourself in that position where this is it. And I don't know when that happens or how it happens. I'm in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of that process.
Yeah.
Talk to me in 10 years. It's not that long, but talk to me in a couple years, and hopefully I'll have that answer.
Okay.
Like, all right, here's how it happened. This is what you do. This is how you balance it. This is when you step away from one job, and this is when you replace it with your dream, and you've generated the income that you can pay the rent.
Simple philosophy, which is draw what you love and love what you draw. I like doing it. It's actually what I draw when I'm in my ruts. It's like these kid versions of things. So I'll just keep, make that my main focus.
The training that I did, the black and white, the photorealistic stuff, just kind of happened. My traditional style is more cartoony, more comics. I've discovered I don't really have the patience to do the technical panel for panel work, but I love the cover art. I love telling a story with an image in the effects I can create with the wash. I have to want to say something about that image. I want to be able to respond to what it is I paint. I try to put myself in the viewer's position as much as possible.
Okay.
So I can speak to them as much as I am speaking from myself.
I was thinking about like where we're at societally and environmentally and worldwide, and I wanted to convey something that looked at the human condition, the environment, and technology and how they interplay. I started doing the tree pictures first, and just drawn to them.
What emotions they're dealing with in a painting that might, again, subject matter wise, might be kind of sophomoric, but they relate to it like they're looking at the Mona Lisa, or they just can't step away. I want there to be a connection. I want them to not be able to look away from it when it's hanging on their wall. I want other people to come in and obviously want to know where it came from, but everyone to look at it through different eyes and to have a different understanding of what it is that's going on in the piece. It's all about the experience. That's what any of this stuff is for. Art, whether it's TV or movies or books or paintings, it's art is the experience.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what the format is or what the medium is. It's how you are going to respond to it.
I didn't intentionally start off with the children's influenced artwork. There wasn't a lot of stuff for like girlfriends and kids. When I'm at the conventions, I actually find myself preferring to stay at my table. I love the interaction between, it's a very solitary thing being an artist. That's why I like Instagram a lot, because to me it's almost like a social convention, like a social media convention, where it's a very immediate reaction. When I'm at a convention, it's an actual physical manifestation of that interaction, So I love just when people come up and they say that they follow me, it's a real treat for me to actually meet a lot of these people.
I love the fact that people who have no idea who the subject matter is can still come up to the painting and relate to it.
Right.
They can feel it, and they can tell me that they understand what I was trying to say, even though it's a picture of Gizmo or Batman or Superman or whatever it might be. So that's really kind of what kept driving me, that people could connect to what I was creating.
Part of what I try to do when I draw is to kind of inspire them to take chances with their own art, to continue to cultivate their own art, and to support them and encourage them to try to do what they want to do, and not be discouraged by not being able to draw exactly how they want to when they're first starting out.
A lot of people out there are really good at digging ditches, and that's what they do.
Sure.
Being qualified to do something, being good at doing something, those aren't reasons to do something. Truly loving what you do. I don't want to retire from this. I don't want to turn 60, make sure I got money in the 401k. This is something I'm going to do until I die.
Right.
I want to be 98 years old, get lucky and live that long, and still be creating and have people still connect to what I'm drawing, creating, and painting. That's the goal. There is no retirement with this. There is no falling back when you put yourself on this path.
I see myself drawing as like a rickety old man hunched over on a drawing table. That's my vision of the future.
I've had a few people that have given me the greatest compliments I've ever had. They've told me that they were inspired by what I've painted, and I'm like, thank you. I don't know how to respond to that. Sometimes I'm like ashamed, because I know how I felt about the piece during the process of creating it, how frustrated I can get, how angry I can get, how badly I want to just destroy it and just throw it to the side when I'm done with it and be like, I'm just glad it's done.
Right.
And then someone's telling me that inspired me. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm such a jerk. Like, it's the greatest compliment in the world, and you got to remind yourself of that. If it took me 1,000 paintings to have one person tell me that, that's what makes it worth painting those 1,000 paintings. It's that one person says something like that. So it's pretty special.
What does it take to live the dream? Talking to these three dreamers, we found out it takes the determination to overcome obstacles and make your next move your best move. It takes the balance to keep one foot in the world the way it is and one foot in the world the way you want it to be. And it takes the inspiration that is the joy that you bring to the tribe in the form of your creative voice. You have the dream. It's time to live it.
year from now, I hope to be retired from bartending.
Hey, there you go.
So that's the only thing I ever plan to retire from.
Right.
You know, living the dream full time is the goal.
Yeah.